Hello and welcome back, jazz heads. I hope that you had a good time playing along, hopefully many, many times, along with Jimmy Cobb on the Miles Davis track, Freddie Freeloader. So just to review, we're working on, this is like kind of our basic jazz beat. So check this out and maybe play along. 1, 2, 3, and... All right, so remember we're playing quarter notes on the ride cymbal with a little bit of an accent on beat 2 and 4. I mean, get the tip of the stick up before in 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, Use those accent strokes, just nice and fluid. Keep your fingers on that stick too. We're feathering the bass drum, playing nice and light on all 4 beats, and we have that hi-hat as an anchor on beats 2 and 4. Great. So what we're going to do right now is add a couple different embellishments. So that means we can think of what we were just doing. That's our basic jazz beat. You can play and keep time and sound good and get a lot of depth out of that groove alone, and it's going to sound like jazz. The more you play along with recordings and try to emulate that feel, you're going to be golden. But jazz also has some different embellishments that fall in with this groove as well. The first of which, we're just going to add in some extra notes with our right hand. And this is what is often taught as the basic jazz beat, but if you don't have that chord note feel and you don't have that emphasis on 2 and 4, it's not going to sound very good. And oftentimes this can be too much to handle at once. All right, so I want to make sure that you have the groove we were just working on down pretty well before adding in what we call the skip notes. All right, and I'm just going to play a little bit. Listen to what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in 2 main places in the bar, and sometimes I wouldn't play them all the time, I'm adding skip notes that line up with a triplet feel for the most part. It goes back to that idea we talked about with our 12 points, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm adding skip notes on the of beat 2 and the of beat 4. So it sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See if you can play that, just the ride cymbal, and maybe count those syllables out loud. 1, 2, 3, go. 1. Notice I'm still adding that emphasis on beat 2 and 4 and trying to lock everything in with that mostly kind of a triplet feel, okay? So let's see if we can add that in with our hi-hat on 2 and 4 as well as bass drum on all 4 beats. This is what it sounds like with all those limbs together. You can just do 2 at first. You could just add the bass drum or the hi-hat. Eventually try to get at this point. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and... Great. So that's something that is going to take a lot of time, especially to get that 2 and 4 emphasis staying throughout and getting everything so it locks in nice and steady. Your feet should, it's not exactly like walking. You don't go right foot together when you walk, but it's kind of an embellishment of that. So it should be, not as hard as we think, but it also takes practice, okay? So the next embellishment is actually a reduction of what we just did. And so we're just going to play the skip beat on the of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So no skip beat on the of 4. Let's try that just by itself. 2, 3, and... So notice I missed it the first time through, but I want to keep that accent on beat 4 as well as beat 2, even though we don't have to skip beat there. All right, let's see if we can add it in with hi-hat and 4 on the floor bass drum. 1, 2, ready, go. Great. So now we're going to leave out the skip note on beat 2, still going to have an accent on beat 2, and we're going to put the skip note back in on beat 4. It's going to sound like this. You can probably just try it with me right off the bat. Just ride cymbal. 1, 2, 3, and... See if you can add in hi-hat and bass drum. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so that gives us actually 4 variations to play for our basic jazz beat. We have just quarter notes with that emphasis on 2 and 4. And actually, I'm going to say 5, because not accenting the quarter note is a cool thing to do as well. It's playing dang, 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 nice and driving, nice and even. So that's version 1. We have quarter notes with an accent on 2 and 4. That's version 2. We have our full skip beat, which is version 3. Then we have skip note on the end of 2. Nothing on beat 4 except for that emphasis, and we have skip note on the end of 4, no skip beat on the end of 2. All right, just to hear what these sound like back to back, go ahead and see if you can do, we'll do 4 bars each of these. So first, quarter notes unaccented, quarter notes accented, full skip beat on 2 and 4, skip beat on 2, skip beat on 4. Okay, give it a shot with me or just listen along. Hear the contrast. 1, 2, 3, unaccented. Try to get each of those variations comfortable and at the tempo of Freddie Freeloader. So your assignment for what to practice, I would say if you can go through, you know, there's plenty of time within that track, but try out all 5 of those variations, keeping nice and steady. You don't have to do anything with your left hand, but you know, make sure that it's staying relaxed and that gives you something for your attention. You don't have to think about your left hand, think about being clean with your hi-hat and your bass drum and those different variations that you have with the ride cymbal and the skip beats as well as without the skip beats. All right, have fun practicing that. Remember, Freddie Freeloader by Miles Davis from the album Kind of Blue. That is a 12-bar blues and the drummer's name is Jimmy Cobb. Go play along with that. I'll see you next time. Thanks.